Thank you, Mr. President. Commissioners, thank you for your service, for all your hard work. Thank you for this report. And thank you for focusing on telling the truth. Thank you for reiterating and restating the truth about our rising health care and pension costs, about the structural problems we face, about the charade of claiming that we have 10,000 cops on the street, about the looming crisis of banked overtime. I'm glad you spoke of truth, and I've spent a lot of time after reading this report reflecting on it. And there's a few truths I wanted to dig a little deeper on, and one truth I thought was missing that I just wanted to enumerate. You spoke, I'm grateful you spoke very much about poverty and about income inequality here in Los Angeles. And one of the truths I think we need to acknowledge is that the ceiling keeps going up in this city, but the floor does not. We have students here, we talked about the education crisis, but I think we need to acknowledge that a student is not going to exceed in school if they go to school hungry or malnourished. A kid is not going to succeed in school if their parents aren't home to help with homework because they're working a second or third job and still making an income that's below the poverty line. You spoke about jobs and how we need to attract more and better jobs to grow the middle class. But we also need to raise those who are living in poverty into the middle class. For me, the truth is I think we need to raise the minimum wage, and I think we need to expand the living wage here in Los Angeles. You spoke a lot about development, and I think you accurately talked about a lot of the problems we have with good planning and development, particularly the lack of updated community plans. But I think there was a conventional wisdom about the battle between progress and NIMBYism that was overstated. In my experience in my district, that is sometimes, but rarely, the case. Most development projects in my district happen without controversy and without problems. There are many controversial ones in my district, but they're usually not that battle of progress versus NIMBYism. They're usually a battle of competing investments. Most of the controversial projects are not people who are trying to take a property they've bought and bring it to the highest and best use. They've bought a property and they're gambling they can get a better return on their investment by getting a variance or a zone change. And more often than not, they're competing against homeowners who have made their investment in their neighborhoods with the expectation or the hope, their gamble, that their neighborhoods will get better and not worse. And I think we do an injustice if we say this is about NIMBYism and the greater good. That's sometimes it, but it's most often not. And we need to focus on neighborhood-friendly development, and we're not going to get there if we always see it through the paradigm of that conventional wisdom. You mentioned traffic, so let me tell you the truth about traffic. The way we evaluate traffic in Los Angeles is a joke. It's a shame. We squeeze money out of developers to do some rinky-dink stuff, and we promise neighbors this will mitigate the traffic. And I don't think anybody really believes in most cases that that's what's going to happen. We use an outdated formula that measures really only the speed with which automobiles move. We don't look in our formulas at pedestrian safety or bicycle safety or the impact on neighborhoods. And we're now developing an attitude in Los Angeles that anything built near mass transit is good, even if it increases traffic. Until we start building an infrastructure that gets people out of cars genuinely, our traffic problems are going to get worse.
Michael, wrap it up.
If I could do just one last point I wanted to mention. The truth I thought was absent in the report is you enumerated so many things in Los Angeles. One that was missing was the environment. We live in a desert where we have no water. And I think one of our problems is that we do not do a good enough job recycling water or capturing our storm water or cleaning our groundwater. We have roads that reflect or that absorb rather than reflect heat. And one of the most important investments I think we can make, and a truth that needs to be told, is we need to make significant investments in sustainability and in conservation and in making us an environmentally stronger city. So thank you, Mr. President. That's the truth as I see it. I thank you for yours, and I look forward to your second report and working with you on those solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Bonin.